Oh, hey, Jim from the Woodworking Corner. Today I'm going to show you how I built this fireplace surround. Well, it all started when our old electric fireplace just couldn't keep up anymore. The heater gave out, leaving us with chilly nights. So I decided it was time for an upgrade, one that looks better and keeps us warm at night. In this video, I'll take you through each step of how I built the fireplace surround from scratch. I combined my usual everyday techniques with techniques I haven't used in a while, and with one technique that I've never tried before. Let's see how things unfold. I'm using 2x4s to build the framework for the main part of the fireplace. I will admit, I'm not a professional framer, so my method may not be conventional, but it's holding an electric insert, not the roof of a house. But I am envisioning how everything will fall into place as I cut the pieces to make a mini wall. Here I'm laying out how high off the floor I want the fire to be, and as well how much space will be needed above the fire. The instructions stated that it needed to be at least 8 inches of clearance in the back. And we did see one design that we liked where it worked out well, but soon enough you'll see that things are going to change dramatically. Now I'm attaching the support mini wall to the tall mini walls. Here you can see that I'm definitely not a framer. I mean, how many times have you seen a framer use pocket holes to build a wall? I tried to figure out how my calculations were off, but I'm off by the width of one 2x4. With the sun going down, the temperature starts to fall, it's time to put a layer back on. Now I join the 2 new cuts to the frame. You can never have too many 2x4s as they begin to cut the cross member for the frame. With a little alley-oop, it's time to test fit the insert. Now it's time to break the 1/2 inch ply that will be used to skin the frame of the surround. If this was 3/4 inch ply, I would definitely have broken it down on the floor, but 1/2 inch ply is manageable if you're being careful. Oh, remember that drastic design change I'd mentioned? Well, here it comes. Okay, I opted to do some of this off camera because I just didn't know how it was going to go. I guess it's one of the problems when you're doing things on the fly. Like originally we were planning on having the side pieces stick out further than the main piece here. But then we decided what we're going to do is we're going to actually make the side pieces narrower. So by doing that, I had to add this part to raise the main part higher. And the tower is going to be a little bit lower here. And there's going to be crown going over here, so they got to be lower than the crown. So this is now all ready for skinning. So yeah, I guess when they say it's like measure twice, cut once, I guess you should plan twice and cut once instead. Because now there's a lot of extra 2x4 over here that wasn't really necessary for this part of the build. So let's continue attaching the 1/2 inch ply to the frame. With the 1/2 inch ply done, we can roll this puppy out of the way. It's time to build the shelves, and since I am using 3/4 inch ply, it's time to use the old put the board on the insulation board trick. But seriously, this is one of the best and safest ways to break down full sheets of ply. Here I am cutting the ply to be oversized in length, and will make the more accurate cut at the table saw. I break down 8 panels, 4 sides, 2 backs, and 2 to be used for tops, bottoms, and shelves. So here's something I haven't done in a while. I'm using edge banding. Normally when I build cabinets, I do face frames. When you use face frames, you don't have to use edge banding. But with the look I was going for, I wanted a more simpler look for my shelves. So edge banding is the way to go. Damn it. Yikes! I got a splinter from the edge banding, so do be careful when handling it. Edge banding is the method you use when you want to hide the edge of plywood, and it's very easy to do. All you need is edge banding and an iron. The edge banding is designed to be oversized so you can use a razor or a doohickey like this to trim it off. But this doohickey thingy wasn't doing the trick. So I pulled out a block plane and trimmed it off with that. Not that I forgot to cut the panels to be oversized. I knew that I was going to cut them the final length eventually, but I could have saved myself some edge banding if I cut them first and then added the edge banding. Like I said before, it's been a while since I've used it. With all the major parts cut, it was time for some paint. Sorry, I had to add that. I like to give the inside panels a coat of paint before assembly. It makes it easier and nicer than to paint the insides when they're fully assembled. Now I can reveal what I'm doing for the first time. I'm going to be using biscuits for the joinery on these shelves. Oh, and no, it's not the first time I'm using a biscuit joiner. I've used one before for gluing up panels, but this is the first time I'm using one to glue up cabinets or shelves. First things first, clamp your panels together. 1 back panel and 2 side panels. Then mark out where the top, bottom, and shelves are going to be. I'm already planning a more in-depth video on this because the orientation of the tool is important in how the slots are made. Then comes the glue up. A big difference between biscuits and dominoes is that dominoes have to be precise, where the biscuits have a little bit more play in them. With the glue up done, it's time to install the crown molding around the main section. I will say I hate doing crown molding. I am reading my notes on which way to cut the crown. Right or left, 45 degrees, ceiling down, say right. I don't know, something like that. Where are my notes when I need them? I am using an oversized board to act as my ceiling while I'm doing this. Then I can measure the installed crown to get my dimensions. So here's how I normally do edge banding with ply. I add a piece of 1/4 inch wood to the sides of the boards and then trim off the excess. Okay, we're getting there. So the next stage, what I want to do is attach the sides. And the purpose of that is so I can drill some holes below the shelves where the shelves will be. So we can attach this to here. But I need to make it removable, otherwise this thing will be way too heavy. So this way each set of shelves can come off, we can move it and reattach it. So we're going to do the base, and in order to get the base to work correctly around these corners, I came up with an idea. Little pieces like 1 by 1. I'm going to do is put it here, cut it either the height or maybe a little bit higher to make it look a little proud of the top of the base here. So this way, this piece can go in here, and then this piece can come up here, and I don't have to worry about a 45 always being perfect. So, because I'm imagining when this thing moves, things aren't gonna line up the way they're supposed to line up. So that's the plan. Base molding is so much easier to do than crown. When I started this morning, it was around 5 a.m., so the sun wasn't up yet. So here's a little break to enjoy the sunrise. As I was doing the base, I'm realizing, I'm running out of material and wondering, will I have enough? And would you believe it? I am short by that much. And there's no way I'm going to the store for that little piece. So I checked for an offcut, and sure enough, there was one. Honestly, I don't remember if I turned off the camera for how I cut it, or if I did it on purpose because of the safety of cutting such a small piece. But I did act safely and still have all 10 fingers. And with the base molding complete, I have this piece remaining. Time to fill in some seams. I still had a full sheet of ply on the side of the garage, but I didn't want to cut into it. Luckily, I found 2 boards from a previous project that will do the trick. Now I just need some molding for them. I'm using leftover 1x3 material and using a cove bit in the router to make my own little crown for these tops. Okay, just so you can get an idea of what I'm planning on doing with that piece that I just cut on the router. So here's our tabletop for the sides. I'm going to cut them on a 45, and I'm going to add this decorative trim going around the sides. It'll beef up the shelf top just a little bit. So this 1x3 material is acting as my edge band and midi crown for the tops of the shelves. There was a knot right on top of where the 45 was. And as soon as I turned it over, it chipped right off, so I had to make another one. After sanding, it's time for some paint. While we're waiting for things to dry, I'm going to glue in some dominoes. I'm only putting glue on 1/2 of the domino, or both sides, but 1/2 of both sides. If they get any glue on the inside of the cabinet, it's not a problem because that's where the shelf is going to go. So don't have to worry about glue squeeze out. It's time to bring the pieces in for assembly. And finally, here's the reveal.